Alright people, Mike Salden here again, welcome back to another video. Today I'm playing some Elden Ring. This is a new save file, a new character I created. My old character who has 100% done everything in the game, has all the weapons, has all the spells, is like at level 300 or something. I still have that save file, but I just thought it would be wise to start from scratch and just try to get through the game again with a slightly less overpowered character and sort of prepare myself for the DLC, the Shadow of the Erdtree. It's going to be out on the 21st of June, I believe. So basically like a month from now, almost I have a month to get through Elden Ring again. And so far I'm just in Limgrave, just doing the basic sort of stuff to get up to Stormveil Castle, running into Rodrika here, getting our second Ash summon, the jellyfish. I like to use the wolves for quite a long time until you unlock the Mimic tier, but it's going to be a while before I get the Mimic tier. I don't know if I want to rely on it too much because a lot of people find the Mimic tier to be like really cheesy or whatever. But again, I'm sort of like, well, they put it in the game, so I'm going to use a mechanic if they put it in the game, if you know what I mean. But I'm not going to try to rely on it too much, the Mimic tier, because I did find myself that some of the end game bosses in the main game were sort of trivialized by the Mimic tier. I mean, it was nice to have the option just to pull out the Mimic tier if I was just completely getting destroyed. And one thing that I like that's sort of in my favor to make it less cheesy is that I don't really play online in any games, so I couldn't really summon help from friends or anything. So it is nice that there is like the Ash summons that can help me out. Like I'm getting destroyed by basic enemies right now. Uh, so it's nice that the wolves are here to help me out, to be honest. They sort of distracted this guy so I could get up here and destroy this catapult. It's actually really nice to come back to the game like 2 years later almost and sort of have forgotten quite a lot of the game and where everything is. I remember like the biggest bosses and where they sort of are and what you have to do to advance the main game really. But a lot of the smaller encounters like this catapult being at the top of that hill and stuff like that, I kind of forgot that was there. I forget where a lot of weapons are, a lot of armor is, and it is like playing the game for the first time again. And I wasn't sure that could happen with Elden Ring, if it would be as satisfying on a second playthrough, being an open world sort of Souls game or whatever. And if the more linear replayability of the like original Souls games, if they were going to be stronger. But yeah, Elden Ring, it's holding up. I think if you leave it a few years before returning to it each time, it is gonna feel, pretty satisfying to come back, and you are gonna forget quite a lot of stuff. The other Souls games, I play them a lot more regularly than Elden Ring, and it's probably because they are like smaller, and you can get through them quicker. So I do like to summon the NPCs when possible. I don't summon like other players. I'm not online, and I will use like Ash summons against bosses. I don't really feel too bad about doing that because the NPCs, they're not that great. They're mainly there to distract the boss while I get a heal in or something like that. So we're gonna see if I can defeat Margaret on a first attempt here. It's not going to be that impressive because I'm like level 40 or something by the time I tried to head towards Stormveil. Obviously the first time playing the game I got here pretty early at like level 20 or something, and it was a way harder fight, and then I like lost to Margaret like 5 or 6 times before managing to beat him the first time. But this time I've sort of got some decent armor. I've got this like Knight of Godric armor and a stone wolf head from one of the catacombs. It's all pretty decent armor. and I am highly leveled up because I went exploring for a long time before even trying to head into Stormvale. So we'll see how this goes. The wolf hat is slowing me down a lot, so I'm going to change to a different helm while we fight this guy. And again, the nice thing about having all the wolves and the NPC is that Margaret, and indeed many other bosses, they get sort of distracted. Like they will turn around to hit your wolves and hit the NPC, and that just really gives you a chance to heal. Whereas when it's just you in here, Margaret, he'll give you like a lot less breathing room. So yeah, we've lost one wolf, but there's still two around, and the NPC is he's not. They're not all doing like amazing damage, but they are chipping him down quite a bit. And I've got him like below half health already, and I've got quite a lot of Estus flasks left. It's not called Estus in this; it's the Cerulean Tears or whatever. But I think everybody just calls it Estus anyway. One of my favourite moves, of course, is to do a big jump and R2. Like, it's just so nice to do, and it does quite quickly stagger enemies if you get in a lot of R2 attacks. I'm not using a really fancy weapon or anything. This is just the Lord Sword, Great Sword, or whatever. That's one of the first weapons you can find in the game. Next to the Gatekeeper runes or whatever on your way to Stormvale. It's just in a chest on the back of one of those black wagons or chariots or whatever you call them. So yeah, Margaret, no real problem here. I did overwhelm him pretty easily using the wolves and an NPC, and I am like level 50 or something at the moment. Because I went everywhere else in Limgrave first before coming here. And I went down to the Weeping Peninsula and did some stuff down there. Like I came back, after I beat Margaret, I came back to the Weeping Peninsula because I wanted to grind these knights, the Mausoleum Knights, over here at one of the churches of Marika so that I could unlock the Mausoleum armor, because I just preferred it to wearing the Godric's armor. It just looked nicer. And I got a like Godric Knight helm that was pretty good. So yeah, I came down to the Weeping Peninsula, and then I did some other stuff in Limgrave after I beat Margaret. Wanted to fight the dragon that's out here. I forgot where exactly he spawns in, so I got completely destroyed there at the start of that. I summoned the jellyfish. I think I was trying to summon the wolves, but I was panicking because I sort of got ambushed by the dragon. Which flew away over there out of range of the summoning area. So I didn't want to chase it up there because I was worried my jellyfish was going to disappear. So I think I just rode around down here a little while until the dragon ran in. Dragon fights are so cool in this game. They feel really threatening. And dragons always feel dangerous even when you're pretty over leveled. And I really didn't want to run over there and fight that dragon without my jellyfish to like sort of distract him, because my strategy is always when fighting the dragon is to like stay on torrent, get in at his legs, let your summon be drawing the flame attacks. When he goes to stomp, of course, get round to the other leg, and always be ready to sort of just dodge around and get away from his head. Goes up in the air, just keep jumping away. Make sure you get out of the way of any of his attacks, and you can wear them down pretty easily, the dragons. Again, I'm pretty over leveled at this point, level 50 something, so this fight isn't too insanely hard. And I had all these strategies for my first playthrough that was making encounters like quite a bit easier than they would be if you're like a completely fresh player who doesn't really know tactics, like staying on the horse to do more damage or move a bit easier when fighting a dragon or a field boss. Maybe they hadn't found Rodrika yet and they hadn't got their jellyfish summoned. So yeah, that's a dragon heart which I can take to the Dragon Communion altar place off in that little island, and then I can get like a new dragon power if I wanted to. I think, is this the cave with Bok in it? Did I go to find Bok? No. Oh yeah, this is Patch's cave, I think. Yeah, I came to find Patches to buy one of the cookbooks off him. Like the Armorer's cookbook or the Mercenary cookbook or whatever those cookbooks are called. It's quite a unique encounter. When you come in here, there's nobody around. You can see the boss wall, like the boss fog door, and you think there's going to be somebody in here. And I actually forgot that this was the Patches setup. I was like, what is this? Why isn't there a boss here? And then I opened this chest, I think, eventually, after waiting for a boss to spawn. And then you just steal whatever's in there. And then you can hear Patches in the background calling you a thief. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the Patches cave. I actually forgot this is where you find him in this game. So he jumps in, starts fighting you. He's a bit braver than some of the other incarnations of Patches, who normally they don't start off by just fighting you right away. He'll kick you down a hole or try to be your friend at first, and then eventually lure you into a trap or something like that. Of course, he does surrender as soon as you get his health halfway down. And if you let him surrender, you'll unlock the rest of his quest line. So it is always good to let Patches live, even if he really annoys you or upsets you, and with the stuff he tries to do, because you'll get a pretty interesting quest line, pretty funny quest line most of the time when Patches is involved. And his mischief and trickery becomes quite amusing, and you sort of like to keep him around even if he is kind of an asshole at times. So yeah, I just said, yeah, I'll forgive you, Patches, because I know you have inventory that I can buy from, which more than anything, that's why you should keep Patches around, because he will sell you stuff, some pretty good items in each From Software game. I think he's even an Armored Core, like a version of Patches, though he might be just called Patch or something in those games. He's in Demon Souls, he's in Dark Souls, and he's in Bloodborne as well, so the Patches the Spider or whatever. So they do like to bring him back across most of their games, and he's like the one thing that sort of links all these games together. I don't think they're a shared universe, but maybe Patches is like a time traveler or an interdimensional traveler or something that he can turn up in every From Software game. The only other crossover thing in all the games is the Moonlight Greatsword. Although in this game it's called the Dark Moon Greatsword, I think. You get it during Rani's questline. And yeah, Patches and that Greatsword are the like two things that connect the universes. But I think they're just little references for From Software fans. And the Greatsword, it's really a reference to Guts, the main character of Berserk. It's his like big greatsword that's been referenced across Japanese media. It's referenced by Cloud Strife in Final Fantasy VII with his big giant Buster Sword. And a whole lot of media have giant swords from Japan that are basically all referencing Berserk. So this was just another little side boss. I got a new Spur Dash from that. I like to do these catacombs to get like the Grave Flower items that you need to upgrade the Spirit Summons, so that I can upgrade my wolves and stuff later. That cave was down in this sort of valley with all these floating jellyfish, not that far away from where we fought the dragon. Quite a nice little serene moment walking through here, or riding through here. Jellyfish will leave you alone unless you attack them first. And I don't really like attacking the jellyfish because they're kind of one of the few peaceful creatures. Okay, this was an Everjail that I went into, or Everjail, or whatever, however it's pronounced. And that's where we find our first Crucible Knight. I find these guys pretty tricky to fight. I lost to this guy quite a few times. I think this is the one where I defeat him. But yeah, he's got a pattern that you can memorize, and you just have to know when to strike and when to dodge. It's really the hardest boss I've fought so far, and I really couldn't rely on my spirit summons. I don't know if I missed turning on a summoning pull somewhere, but I just had to get like good at dodging. Realized when I could do my big jump and R2 attack, it's really my go-to move. Um, Still using the Lord Sword, Great Sword, or whatever it's called. It's really a basic weapon that I don't think a lot of people like. Doesn't really have that great of scaling. Nothing really special about it, but it really carries me through the game. To be honest, even on my first playthrough, it carried me all up until I got Morgoth's Cursed Sword, which I swapped to for most of the end game, which then became my favorite sword. But yeah, the Lord Sworn Great Sword that you get really early on, I just really like how it feels to use. It's really heavy feeling and quite slow, but I just found it staggers people quite easily, and it does quite a bit of damage when you do stuff like this jumping R2 attack. Um, yeah, and I just like using it. And I think it's because there is nothing that special about it. It makes me endeared to it a bit more. Uh, like, there is plenty of weapons with special abilities and like magic enhancements and different abilities and stuff that you can find. They're a lot more powerful than like such a basic weapon. But I kind of like the idea of just this really normal sword that uh, carried me through most of the game. And then this sword to me becomes legendary because of what I managed to accomplish with it, even though it was just a basic normal sword. It always reminds me of Solaire in Dark Souls, when if he dies, if you don't kill the sunlight maggot, and you end up having to kill Solaire, and then you get his armor and his sword and his shield and everything, and you're expecting, because he's helped you in so many boss fights if you summoned him, and that he's a really skilled warrior and everything, and he's been doing quite a bit of damage to the bosses and all, you probably expect he's gonna have like a really powerful sword and armor. But then when you read the description of Solaire's armor and sword, it's just like a plain sword, nothing magical about it, and a shield and armor that appears to have been handcrafted by Solaire himself. And there was nothing really magical about them at all. It was just Solaire's own abilities that gave these things meaning and power. And I think that's why I really like this Lord Sworn Greatsword, is there was nothing special about it until I made it special by just having it be the sword that kept winning so many victories for me. And I just also think it's quite unique to go through the game mostly using this weapon, because I think most people, they think it's a trash weapon, and they're probably right. Like, it probably is easier to go get like one of the katanas, the Moonveil sword, the katana, or something like that. Early on, go into Khalid, or Khalid, or however you pronounce it, and just get one of those weapons, and it'll make your life easier. But I just became really fond of this sword from my first playthrough, and I was really happy when I found it again. I do take a little detour from Limgrave into Khalid here after I found Alexander, and he was talking about going there to the Radan festival. I'm not heading there just yet myself, because Khalid, it's really an area you're not supposed to be until like you're level 70 or around there, I would say. The game really wants you to go to Stormveil, then into Rhea Lucaria, and then maybe into Atlas, and then come down from the Atlas Plateau place after you do quite a bit up there, and then go fight Radan and come into Khalid. But I wanted to come down to one of these Erdtrees and take out the putrid avatar, or whatever you call this guy, so I can get like a new upgrade for my mixed physic vial, which I did collect. the wondrous physic flask or whatever you call it. Because there's a lot of these minor Erdtrees, and whenever you get to the base of any of them, there's always one of these avatars of varying difficulty. They have different tiers for you to collect for your flask that you can mix different abilities into it. And I think this guy has the one that gives me a shield or something that I wanted. So I came down and decided to fight him. Jellyfish helped me out. Then he was getting really overpowered with his little golden ray attack there. So I was trying to back up and hit him with some flame magic. I leveled a little bit into faith, even though I'm mainly doing strength, vitality, and endurance. Oh dear, roll away, roll away. Oh, and I actually took him down there, nice. And yeah, these are the 2 tiers I got. So I'll be able to mix them into the flask later. And it's always good to take a little quick detour into Caelid here, unlock some areas for later. You can run past a lot of stuff and get some good items before going back to Stormveil. When I was checking the map, these 2 guys sort of snuck up on me. So I would say never stop to read your map in Caelid, because there's always something from somewhere that's sneaking up on you. Absolutely hate these guys and how they move. They're just so creepy. These big centipede things with all their legs. Just really creepy creature design. Big giant nasty bugs. Ugh, I hate them. But yeah, this was just a quick detour into Caelid. I came into this this other like jail sort of prison that you can find that the vulgar militia sort of have control over. I can't remember what I was doing in here. I think I was like, I might as well pick up the Moonveil sword, because I think it's in here somewhere. And I do believe I did pick it up. But I think it was just when I was in Caelid, I wandered into this cave and it turned out to be this one. And I was like, oh yeah, the Moonveil sword, the katana, the quite powerful weapons in here. Probably not going to use it, as I, again, really like this Lord Sworn Greatsword or whatever. But yeah, I thought it would come in here. And the Vulgar Militia, I was kind of leveled up enough to deal with them. But I saw that rat going past and I didn't like it, because I knew there was giant rats around here. And then turned out there was one over in this corner where the small one had run to. I have this torch which has a nice like breathing fire ability on it, so I tried to use that on them. It kind of went okay, but then this other minor rat, it sort of broke out of it. And then I was like, okay, I better finish them off with the sword. They're not too dangerous, these big rats, but they can overwhelm you and stun lock you if you get cocky, so you do have to watch yourself a little bit with those rats. And of course they were guarding some minor items, yeah, some golden runes and some turtleneck meat or whatever that was. So yeah, wandered around for a while in there, and I eventually found the sort of path down to this boss that's in here. I think I did pick up the Moonveil sword, but I guess I didn't keep that footage around, or didn't save the clip properly. This was all recorded just on my PS5 internally with the share function or whatever. That's how I get all my game footage. Nothing fancy, just record it on the PS5 and then record my commentary over it. So let's see, yeah, summon the wolves again. My best friends, the wolves. They're at level 4 or so now, because I've done a lot of the tombs, the catacombs that get you the gravewort flower, or whatever it's called, that you need to give to Rodrika to upgrade your spirit summons so that they can survive a bit longer. But yeah, I'm pretty overpowered at this point already. Where this boss is one of the more minor bosses in Caelid. He's not really going to do much he's not going to bother you too much, especially when I'm doing these powered up R2 attacks. and I have the wolves here helping me distract him so I can heal myself and whatever. But yeah, that was a nice little distraction. I'm glad I came to Caelid and cleared up some stuff. I also got the disc that you need for the Atlas Plateau, the half of the disc that was hidden in Caelid. I got that while I was there. And this cave actually led me back to Limgrave. So it was probably why I actually went there in the first place, is because I was like, isn't there a cave around here that takes you back to Limgrave? And I got a nice little sword there on the way out. And another little item here. So it is nice how there's a lot of like paths that lead back to Limgrave from Caelid. Because there is a magic chest that I think most people know about by now, which is near where I fought that dragon. And it can transport you to Caelid way too early if you're not prepared. And you can wind up being really stuck and trapped in Caelid and just wanting a way out of there. And it is nice if you find a cave or whatever that has a path that leads you out of Caelid before you've like unlocked the map properly and you don't know where you're going. And I think when you activate a trap chest, you can't fast travel until you rest at a site of grace again, and it can be quite scary the first time you get stuck in Caelid. I think this was a mine I went into in Caelid actually after. I think I went back again and found this cave. Alexander was in here somewhere, and I wanted to talk to him just to advance his little quest line. Don't think you have to speak to him in here after you free him, but it was just something I wanted to do. And then I fought this dragon in here with the help of my jellyfish, who took a lot of the heat for me, and then I just ran up on the dragon and just used my R2 attacks, doing as many as possible to stun lock him. And then you get up near his head, and when he's stun locked you can do your like critical attack or whatever. Not too hard of a boss because he's so slow, and I am pretty powered up at this point, like level 50 I think. I don't know if I show my actual level in this video anywhere. I probably level up at some point. But yeah, that was another dragon heart unlocked, and this is where you get the Moonveil blade. That's why I came back to this mine as well. And then I went to the Weeping Peninsula because I remembered I hadn't fought this Knight's Cavalry, which is a boss that only appears at night time. They basically look like the Black Riders from Lord of the Rings. Pretty cool design and everything. And they were quite intimidating the first time you ran into them in the game. You were just riding along, and then suddenly boss music starts and the red health bar shows up. And it was the first time you were like, wait, bosses can just find you out in the open world? And it was like a really cool panicky kind of moment the first time you ran into a Knight's Cavalry. And there are other bosses that only spawn at night time, so if you're trying to explore, it's good to do it during the day, so that you don't just like run into a boss that you weren't expecting to fight and potentially lose a lot of runes or progress because you ran into one of these nighttime bosses that you weren't planning to run into or whatever. So you can actually damage his horse and make him fall over, and then put him on the ground, and then if you're still in Torrent, it gives you like a really big advantage against him. I'm quite bad at mounted combat because it's I'm just was struggling to get in hits there, but I did eventually dismount him. And this guy, again, he's not too bad because I'm so leveled up at this point, and I've just come back from Caelid, I think, at this point. And I've been fighting some real hard enemies over there. So I was kind of ready for him. And at this point, I came back to Stormveil where I'd left off after fighting Margit. I found Godric's boss room again. It actually took me a little while to find this because I kind of got lost in Stormveil. I forgot how big the castle was. But I found the NPC. What's her name? Nelly. No, I can't remember her name correctly, but her summon signs over here. Nelfie or something like that. I'm gonna summon her for Godric and again use my wolves. We should make quick work of him. I'm hoping to defeat him on a first attempt, just like Margaret. I think the first time I got here, when the game first came out, I didn't even run into the NPC that you can summon for the fight, and I didn't have any decent armor really, and I hadn't been smithing with my sword, so I lost to Godric quite a few times, and he actually filters a lot of new players who just get frustrated that they can't get past him, and then they give up here. But because I went all around Limgrave this time, went down to the Weeping Peninsula, and even went to Caelid and did a bit of grinding in Caelid, I'm pretty powered up and just about ready to take on Godric. I think I am at exactly level 50 now. I know I've been around there for a while at level 50 while I was doing some of this stuff, but I think after this fight I'll level up and we'll see what I'm actually at. But yeah, this is my first time coming into Godric on this playthrough, and I wanted to take him down straight away because I am powered up enough that it would be embarrassing to really lose to him, especially when I have the wolves and the NPC summon. And I've got my Wondrous Physic mixed where it gives you the shield, which I did waste by taking a really unnecessary hit right away. So I had no idea what this guy's moves were at this point because it's been so long since I fought him. I was too eager to rush in and was getting damaged by all kinds of nonsense that I should have been easily dodging. But thankfully he was quite distracted by the wolves mainly, and the NPC finally ran in and started distracting him so I could get some big R2 attacks on his back. Like, he wasn't exactly a pushover, even though I was like completely overpowered and stuff. And there, we just started wheeling on him now. I think it actually makes it a bit harder that I brought in the NPC because Godric gets more health or something like that. But with how over leveled I am, it kind of balances it out a bit more. So yeah, once you get him down to half health, he'll do this thing where there's a dragon nearby. I think it's a dead dragon, but he takes its head and grafts it onto his arm and basically gives himself a flamethrower arm. It's like so metal. It's like a heavy metal album cover, to be honest. The first time he did this, when I was playing the game the first time, I was like, this is so badass. This game's absolutely going to be Game of the Year. I'm pretty sure in 2022 Elden Ring did win Game of the Year at every possible outlet, and it just completely deserved it because this is just so badass. And we're only at the first like real main story boss, and like the game just gets bigger and crazier from here. So yeah, I just ran in, jumped over his arm so the flamethrower missed me, and I just kept hitting him with R2. Yeah, I just got a critical attack on him. I just completely started bashing him. Oh dear. And that was Godric pretty much down. Thankfully he was concentrating on the NPC here, and he really didn't do too much damage to me. Yeah, see, that's why it's good to bring an NPC, because they take a lot of the heat for you. We both managed to survive that fight. My wolves also, no doubt the wolves actually got taken down. But yeah, that was the first main big story boss. And it's been a lot of fun returning to Elden Ring. Probably going to do a part 2 video of this where I just do Raya Lucaria next and show some of my adventures in that part of the game and see how many videos I can do before the Elden Ring DLC comes out. because I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it's probably going to be the best thing that comes out this year. 2024 has been a bit of a quiet year for games so far. Um, but yeah, thanks for watching, people, and if you enjoyed this, give it a like, and tell me who your favorite boss in Elden Ring is, or what your favorite area is, or even your favorite weapon. And yeah, I'll see you again next time with another video. And I am level 49 actually. I thought it was level 50. But yeah.